Support for UW 360 is provided by the Labor Archives of Washington. Learn more about researching at the Labor Archives and donating collections at laborarchives.org.
Alison, if you could please come up.
Alison Steichen stands before a packed ballroom to accept a scholarship. After almost a decade away from school at the UW, working dockside as a casual longshore worker. Alison's scholarship has been awarded by the Harry Bridges Center for Labor Studies, recognizing her work with the International Longshore and Warehouse Union and her commitment to a future working in labor.
The Harry Bridges Center was one of the reasons I came back at the time that I did. I felt a true calling between what I was trying to accomplish as a casual longshoreman and then take that further. How can I contribute to this industry? How can I use my talents to make it a better place?
The labor movement's always been a very important player in Washington State, even before we were a state. Some of the biggest events in Seattle history turn on labor activism.
Alison is carrying the legacy of one of those events forward. Her scholarship is named for Gene Viernes and UW alumnus Silme Domingo, who died in 1981 fighting for reform in their Cannery Workers Union, a historically Filipino-American organization, which was no longer protecting its own workers the way it once had. Terri Mast, Silme's wife, remembers.
The union did all the dispatching, mainly the dispatching of the workers to the canneries. And that is where a lot of the bribery would happen. They would pick and choose, and how they picked sometimes was by, people passing money or other things.
Silme and Gene were leaders of a movement to take back control of their Pacific Northwest Union, organizing discrimination suits, encouraging others to run for office, and connecting to exploited laborers in the Philippines under the Ferdinand Marcos dictatorship.
That did come up on the agenda about taking a position or a stance on workers in the Philippines and what conditions were they working under, and trying to build relations with the labor movement there. But that was not something that the leadership of the union thought should be involved.
It also infuriated the infamous Philippines president, Marcos. He conspired with Union President Tony Barroso, and on June 1st, 1981, both Silme and Gene were gunned down in Seattle.
And it was a, sensational murder, got a lot of publicity, especially among Asian Americans, and a big funeral. It actually helped, in a sad way that martyrs do, to solidify the union and bring them together.
Gene and Silme's sacrifice inspired Terri and the other reformers on to victory. The union was reclaimed and some measure of justice was served.
4 hitmen are all in prison. They got life without parole. Tony Barroso, after the civil suit, the prosecuting attorney finally agreed to go after him, found him guilty as well, and he went to prison. And he died a few years ago. And unfortunately, Marcos died before the civil suit, but was found guilty, and yeah.
This is the legacy that Alison is carrying forward with her scholarship, and it seems like she's already ready to go.
Because you get down there and you listen to the old timers talk to you, and their stories and everything come through when they teach you. So you really learn the history through the oral history, through people that have been there and done it. 10 years, I would like to be a labor attorney in labor law. If that doesn't happen, I'd like to be a union organizer